Hey, how's it going everybody? It's me, Scott. Welcome to One Last Hand. Welcome to our first ever Mythwind Monday. For those of you that don't know anything about Mythwind, it's a really cozy, chill, cooperative / solo game where you're going to be taking on the role of a character. In this instance, we are the farmer. I'll show you this in a second. We have our player board here, but we also have the Valley of Mythwind, where we're going to be developing the town. We start with just one building, we start with very few limited resources, but as the seasons go on, we're going to be developing the town. Events are going to happen, and we're going to go on adventures, and we're going to go from there. The selling point of this game is it never has to end. However, what I would say is I kind of position the channel that when we start a game, we always finish it. That makes this a bit tough. So from our point of view, we'll just see how it goes. There are 5 different characters at the moment: the farmer, the crafter, the merchant, the innkeeper, and the ranger. We're going to be playing as the farmer. However, you'll have to let me know if / when you want me to change character to one of those others. We can just pack this up, leave it in its current state, and bring a new one out, and they'll carry on the story. So the other thing we've got over here is the Friends and Family expansion. I do have all of the expansions for this game. Some of them appear later down the line, but the Friends and Family expansion adds people who turn up in the city, and those people will be running various things. So you can see here is a card for Alex, and this is Alex's acquaintance card. However, if we progress our relationship with Alex, we can then become a pal. If we move on from pal, we can become best friends, and after that we can become companions and have children. So I don't think it's overly complex, but it's a nice little addition. The rest of them, as and when events happen, we'll be adding those cards into the deck. I have added I think it's the Friend and Family card into here, so it just changes one of the weather cards, and I've added some of the individual events into the goals, which we're going to be trying to achieve as we go. I don't want this to be a video of me just talking about what we're going to do, so a couple of things before we get started. I've kind of tried to make the lighting as cozy and comfortable as possible. If it affects the quality of the images that you're seeing, let me know, and we can increase the lights and get a bit more sharpness in. But we want to do that. I've also got a couple of lanterns here that you can see flickering. If that puts you off, if you want those removed, let me know. I'm going to record a few sessions here, but then I'll wait for some feedback. So if you want me to change any of those things, we absolutely can. Last thing I just want to say is one of our patrons, Margie, was kind enough to gift two, 3 Patreon memberships there in a link in the description below in a pinned comment. So if you wanna join the Patreon for free, go and do that with one of those. First come, first served, obviously. The other thing I would just say is that there's a lot of content on there, lots of unique stuff. So if you do want to check it out, please be my guest. I think that's everything. I think that's all of the housekeeping. I think the goal is to make this as chill as possible. Let's start by reading the intro, and then we'll jump into it from there. Rumours of a mythical valley shrouded in mystery have long been whispered in the region. Today, a chance encounter with a small magical being named Sprites confirmed the existence of this place. These sprites call you to make it your home. Their reasons are unclear, but for a struggling settlement of humans, the opportunity is too good to pass up. Fix, the keeper sprite, guides you and your closest companions through the mountains pass and eventually reveals with Mythwind Valley. The first sighting the valley takes your breath away. Its beauty surpasses even the claims of the wildest legends, and to your surprise there are signs of old foundations and an ancient tower that looms over them. Evidently, you are not the first people to come here. So that is the town journal. Okay, now we're going to read the farmer's journal. Day 3. I found an area suitable for planting. The greenery is fertile, thanks a lot of sun exposure and natural drainage. Some of the others are concerned, but they can't see past the hard work to come. The local sprites have different worries. I don't think that they've seen soil cultivated in our way. On the other hand, they show an apparent affinity for the land, so it's in my best interest to learn from their expertise. It will take all of us, to make this sustainable. You can see this is a complexity 1-star character, and there's a load of bits and pieces in here, and obviously the actions that we're going to be taking as the farmer. Hopefully I know it. I'll do my best to talk you through it as we go, but I don't want this to be a tutorial. To avoid that, what I've done is I've put a couple of links in the description. They are for the official tutorial and the official tutorial on how to play the farmer. So if you want to go and watch those and come back, but I will try and, certainly in the first season, 2 seasons, we'll be trying to talk through it. And every time we change a character, we'll also be talking our way through it. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the game before we get started. So obviously you can see this is the Valley. We've got our game tray here. There's a load of dice. We're going to be using these dice as and when they become available. And we've got events, weather, and adventure. And then we've got a goal. Let's start with the goal. So if we zoom in over here, we can see our goal for this season is clear the land. Discover 1 land for every character. Obviously there's only us. When we achieve this, we are going to take one of these little tokens and place it on here to say that we have done our goal for the season. When we do, there will be a reward or a failure condition on the back. So we know that during this season, we want to be clearing 1 land. What does that mean? Obviously you can see we've got a longhouse built here that was left over when we arrived. We've got the tower here as well. But then you can see there's all of these spaces where there is currently land, but if we wanted to, we could clear it. We'd gain a reward from the back of the card, and then we can build a new building, and that building will come in this construction queue over on the right. How do we clear land? We take an action over here. So if we were to come over here and take an action, we would be able to clear some of the land. Once we've done that once, because there's only 1 of me, we'll achieve our objectives. So what else are we talking about? We've spoken about seasons a couple of times. Let's zoom in over here. This is a season. So we are going to be working through a season card. What that means is at the start of every phase, we are going to draw a weather card. We're going to turn this over, and on the back of this weather card will be the weather condition that we are going to deal with. And as you can see here, if we match a certain pattern, so if we get cloud, sun, cloud come out in that order, we can advance the build queue. If we get rain, rain, rain come out in that order, we lose a food. If we get rain, sun, clouds, we gain a production down here. And these are our tokens to represent that. So if we were to lose a food, this would move down. If we were to gain a production, this would move up. So that's how we'll be tracking those things. Now, in one of the expansions, you do actually have seasons with 2 weathers rather than 3 to trigger those events. What we'll do is at the end of every season, we'll randomize it, we'll shuffle it and see what we come, whether we get 3 or 4. Just means we'll get a bit of variety. These things will happen more often. So that's that. We know what our objective is. How are we going to achieve that? What can we do on our turns? That's probably the best way to have a think about it. So on the start of the day phase, let me just see if I can find the instructions I had somewhere, and we'll work through it a step at a time. So we have determine the weather. So I'm going to grab this. Let's zoom in a little bit and we'll just have a look at this weather card. The first thing we can see is that this is a sun card. So we obviously don't have 3 cards out at the moment, so we can't make one of those weather patterns, so we don't need to check it. But we can see we have a sun card. Then we have an event. This means that an event is happening, so we're going to read one of the event cards, which we find in this tray here. So here we go. Here is our event card. We only have the one to begin with. And let's zoom back in and have a little read. More locals. A sudden crashing sound booms across the town as the source of the commotion is a pile of wood set aside for construction that has collapsed. Trapped underneath is a panicked-looking creator sprite. It cries out, "Help! I was only trying to tidy up the pile." The terrified sprite is carefully freed, and gives thanks before embarrassedly scurrying back to the forest. Read event 2 immediately. So we're going to take event 2, and there's a whole host of these. Here we go, this is event 2. A summit. The creator sprite that was freed from under the woodpile returns to town. He introduces himself as Bonk and takes your group into the forest where there's a gathering of many unfamiliar sprites. You overhear them talking about your town, occasionally in a surly tone. Once they notice your presence, however, they scatter and hide in the greenery. Bonk looks embarrassed and scurries away as well. How odd. Perhaps they got shy. Shuffle in events 3 and 1, 4, 6. So this is a good opportunity for us to have a quick look at the event decks. You can see here, this is only half of it. We've got event number 3 here, and we're looking for 1, 4, 6, did we say? It's not there. So it's in this pile here. And it is 1, 4, 6. Okay. So the 2 events that we have completed get tucked out of the way. And then we're just going to shuffle these. That was the wrong one. There we go. And we're just going to shuffle these and place them back in the event queue. So our event was we got disturbed by some sprites, but we don't know much. We don't know much more other than that. Now, the next thing that happens as the farmer is we check the season effect. Now, not every character has this. On the back of the journal tells you the day phase and the phases of actions. But as a farmer, we get to take an action. Let's talk about the farmer, shall we? If we zoom into this board here, the first thing you can see is this top row. What this row is showing us is if we ever want to increase one of the town resources, we can pay money. 5 food, 10 production, no 10 income, 10 progress, or 15 for culture. We're not the most cultured. So that's what this section is. If we go to the clear land or improve town, we can take that action. Then we have our planting row. So these are all crops that are going to come up next, and we get to plant one of these if we take the plant action. I'll talk about that in a second. But what you can see is each of these has a value against it, apart from this one. So if we ever take the plant action, we can do this one for free. This section here is actually what we want to be looking at, is because it's sunny, we are in spring, and this is the icon for spring. Because it's sunny, we get to take the plant action. So we're actually going to be able to plant one of these for free. We have a, if it was in the summer and it was rainy, we would take the water action. And if it was in the fall or the autumn and it was cloudy, we'd take the harvest action. You don't get any bonus action in winter because farmers don't like the winter, right? So we should have some money to begin with, and I believe you start with 10. Now let's talk a little bit about this section here. So first things first, these are this is our field, this is our fertile land. Each one of these is blocking a place in our field. So we can clear these out of the way by taking the harvest action down here and paying the resource. We could then remove this. There are some rules about setting this up. I basically just threw these on the board and then dotted them into the closest areas. The only rule about setting these up is they can't be adjacent horizontally or vertically. So we couldn't have this one here, for example, but we can have it here. So we've got this area to plant our crops in, and because it's sunny, we're going to take the free action, I guess, to plant these potatoes. Just to be clear, these potatoes, let me just zoom in and show you. These potatoes have a potato side, so this is kind of the tended, this is ready to harvest, and this is the growing or planted side. So we are going to plant these on the planted side. We obviously need to do some work to get them ready to harvest. So I'm going to tuck these here. I'm going to tuck these here. Now, the only rules really about planting these is if I wanted to plant these potatoes, they have to be touching these ones, and that's going to create a field. So this is already a field, but let's say we then planted these ones. They have to be somewhere on this board touching the existing crop of potatoes. Once they do, this becomes a field. So that's that. I'll keep them on this side when we're looking at them because it's just easier to see what they are than when they're turned over. They look a little similar. But the other crops we have are beans and strawberries. So really, we want to be getting those crops in. Now we've planted this one. If we can tend to it, we're going to be able to flip this over. And when we flip this over, these are then ready to harvest. If we take the harvest action, we'll get 3 coins for doing such a thing. So this is how we're really making money. There's a few more bits to it. We have livestock. We can breed livestock. So if we get 2 cows next to each other, we can take a breed action down here. Then we can potentially sell those livestock for money. But equally, we have equipment. So we could potentially get some of this equipment down. Now it's going to take 5 coins and 1 livestock to get this, but then we're going to get bonus actions from doing it. So I think this means you can harvest adjacent to where you are. So by getting some of this equipment in, it needs to be next to a cow because they're pulling the plows and all the rest of those things. But it's going to mean that we can start to become more efficient in what we're doing. So we have taken the day phase. We have we've discovered the weather. We have checked the season effect. We have resolved the farmer's weather effect. We're now into perform a town action, and that's where our big old chunky meeple character comes in. This is the farmer. Look how angry he looks. I have to say these are big minis, and they're nice quality. But we have to take a town action. So we have a few choices. First things first, we could go up to this space here. If we go up here, we can do an adventure. That means we take a card from the adventure deck and we discover an outcome. We could come down here and we could hire workers. If we do the top one, we can spend 2 coins to hire 1 worker. I'll talk about those in a second. Or we could spend 5 coins to hire both of them, or 2 workers. We could come over here, and this means we can pay 5 coins to clear a square, which will get us towards or finish our objective, or we can increase any one of these by paying the cost over here. You can increase multiple of these if you have the money. The last thing we could do is come over here and advance the construction or build a building. This one is, so we can come over here and build a building from this. The construction will advance in other ways, usually from turning over weather cards or event cards. The other thing we can do at the moment is go to the longhouse. And at the longhouse, you can see we can gain 1 coin or we can get a skill. And I haven't spoken about skills, but that is these things here. Now, what you'll find with skills is skills have a cost. So we need to give up a strawberry plant and a 2 potato plants, I think that is, to be able to get this. And then we'd take this upgrade action or skill action, and then we could place it into any one of these slots down here. So we'll turn this over, and let's say we put it here, and this means anytime it rains, we can take the water action or the tend action. So pretty nice on that front. So we'll be aiming to get some of these, but obviously we want to get some money. We want to uncover some of these squares. We want to go on adventures. There's a lot we want to do. We're going to be doing it as we turn over each one of these weather cards. So I'll keep an eye on those. So we're going to go and perform a town action. What do we want to do first? Should we hire some workers? That's going to get us to do more actions here. So I'm actually going to spend 5 coins to hire both of these workers. Now let's talk a little bit about these workers, shall we? So if we zoom in, you can see these dice have pips on them. Obviously, that's what dice tend to have. These ones are sprites. So if you ever take the sprite dice here, that means you can do sprite actions with them. This one are the villagers. If you ever take that, you can do villager actions. We're actually going to take both of them, and we are going to plop them in our well here, not changing the face of them. When they do a shift at work, we'll reduce it by 1. The other thing we want to point out is that on the board, you can see there are various little symbols. I don't know how easy it is for you to see it, but let me just bring this up. You can see here there's a little villager icon on this one. So depending on the action you go and do is how you align yourself for the turn. So if I went here, there's both symbols. We'd be aligned to whichever one we choose. If we went here, we'd be aligned to villagers. If we went here, we'd be aligned to sprites. Now, I think because we went and hired, we are aligned to either. We get to choose. Okay, because we hired both workers, we can choose our alignment. If we only hired one of them, our alignment would be the one that we hired. So that is the end of the town phase, as in the perform town action. Now we get to perform a character action, and all of those actions take place on our board. So we have these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 actions down here. Each of them are explained on this card here, but let's just walk through it. So first things first, we take our action, then we can do worker actions. So let's assume we were to take this action. That would mean we do the plant action. Now we've already planted our free crop, but we can spend the coins below here to plant another one. So let's say we wanted to do that. I could spend one of our 5 coins and plant this on the board. That is the plant action. We could take the tend action, the watering can, which is flip one untended crop to its tended side. So that means we could turn this one face up, making it ready for harvest and worth more money. We could take the harvest or clear action. So either remove one crop token from the farmland and gain the amount of coins. So if let's say we took the tend action, then we flip this over, we could do our harvest action and earn the coins for it. We can either clear one of these lands, so we could pay 2 to remove this, for example, which might not be the worst shout because they are in the way. Then finally, we have the livestock action, which gives us 4 actions. We can buy a cow for 3 coins, and we can place that on our board. We can remove any number of livestock from here and sell them, gaining 2 coins for each. So we really want to get a pair and breed them, because then we'll be making money. We could move them, so I can move a cow anywhere from one place on my field to another. Or we could breed them, place 1 livestock token in the farmland next to one other, next to 2 adjacent. So if we had 2 cows on our board, then when we take the breed action, we get to put another one adjacent to it. And therefore we've obviously have an extra resource. So what are we going to do? I think it makes sense for us to take the plant action here. So this one at the top here, we're going to spend 1 coin, giving us 4 back. Okay, and we are going to buy these potatoes, and I'm going to slide these in here, flipping them over to their untended side. So we are now aligned to the sprites because we took that action. I think it makes sense for our sprites. So once we've done the character action, we farm and then we resolve a skill. We don't have any skills, so we can't do any of those things. We get to take actions with these 2 worker dice. When you do a worker, they only take these actions down here. There's a couple of characters where you can also have other actions, but these ones only do these actions. They'll never make use of a skill here. So what do we want to do? We can plant another crop potentially. We can tend a crop, which I feel like it makes sense. So we're going to take our sprite, we're going to turn them down to a lower number and place them in this slot here, and then we're going to tend one of these crops, flipping this over, ready to harvest. And I think we've got 2 choices. We can either buy a cow. Oh, I didn't talk to you about the plow action down here, did I? This is the equipment action. We can spend money to gain some of our equipment. I'm going to talk about equipment a little later because we're not ready to have it. So we don't have to use our worker here, but I think I'm going to. I'm going to plop them in here. I am tempted to get a cow, but I think we're going to sell this one for 4 coins. We'll get this over here and put this back over here. when we sell, we take our crop and we place it in this little bag. So I'll say we're bag building. We're not really in this instance, but that's that. We've still got one crop over here that isn't tended, but we have done our worker actions, and now here we do the dusk phase. So dusk is return the character. So he comes back over here. We return workers. So if we had any that were 0 at this point, we'd put them back into the tower. We don't have any that are 0. And then we replenish the crop market. So we're going to dig back into our bag. These move down, and then we're going to find what we find. So we've got potatoes again, no strawberries. I can't tell the difference between potatoes and strawberries. And we have more strawberries. Okay, so getting some strawberries could be wise. Now, one of the problems with this is obviously when you dig into this bag, you can feel the shapes of them. Not that I'm trying to cheat, but I think what we'll do is I'll probably make up some capsules here for this, so you can then pull them out a little bit easier without feeling shapes. And it's also a little bit tough to mix them up in that bag. So that is that. We've replenished our crops. We've returned the workers. We're done. That's the end of a turn. We went pretty slowly through that. I said it wasn't going to be a tutorial, but hopefully now we can start to speed up. Okay, so shall we move on to day 2? We're going to grab a weather card and have a look at it. So this one is rain. We're going to tuck that here. So now we have sun and rain. There are no 2 effects, so we can carry on. But we're going to keep building this up as sort of a tableau to be able to track whether the weather happens. So on rain in spring, nothing happens. So our farmer seasonal effect doesn't do anything. We don't have any icons on this card to do any of those actions, which means we just move into perform a town action. So I want to show you as much as I can. So we're going to go up here and we're going to do an adventure. So we put our card out here just to talk a little bit about the multiplayer. If we were playing with other characters, you would also put those all out simultaneously. Characters cannot go to the same location, so you can't end up in the same place. So that's that. We are going to do an adventure. So how do we do an adventure? We take this little cover off from over here and we grab the first adventure underneath it. These have all been shuffled, and we go and have a little look. So let's zoom in on this card. Hunting mishaps. You've been tracking a prize buck. It's taken hours to get to this point, but the opportunity to line up your shot arrives as the stag grazes in the field. Suddenly you receive a blow to the back of the head and everything goes black. Okay, maybe this isn't the nicest idyllic place that we were coming to. When you come to, first thing you notice is the splitting headache you have. The second are the unusually large bare footprints nearby. Evidently someone snuck up behind you. Although they didn't take anything, there's no sign of the buck. Shuffle event 125 into the event deck. So that one gets excluded, and we find event 125, which I think is in this deck here. So you can see how there's kind of a story interwoven into events and adventures and stuff that might not be the most cohesive of stories, who knows, but it's going to be interesting to find out, right? This did say event into it, right? Yeah, shuffle event. So that's the other thing we need to bear in mind, is we could be shuffling adventures into here, but we want to be shuffling events. So we need to make sure we're picking these from the right decks when we get the chance. And now we've got 3 events in here, so let's tuck that one down there. And that was our adventure. Nothing happened other than we got a bonk on the head. But you can see here we are aligned to either sprites or to villages. I think it makes sense for our action to take the plant action. We're going to grab one of these and place that in there. So we're now ready to start tending to this. I think as our sprite worker here, we're going to reduce this down to 1, and we're going to pay 1 to also take the plant action. So we're going to grab some more potatoes. Now, if you remember, these potatoes need to be touching this one. So I think we're going to tuck these in here. Oh no, we can tuck them this way, but then yeah, we can tuck them this way, but then I'm not going to be able to plant them. Yes, I am. Okay, sorry. So I should just talk about some of the rules for planting these, for working with these. So when we put them in, they have to be touching something that's already there. When you tend them, you flip them over so they're this side. Now something still has to be touching the original space it was touching before. So let's say we put this here like so. We could quite easily flip this up and put it here like this. Now it's aligned a different way, but as long as it's touching somewhere where it was originally touching. So from our point of view, we can put this here, and then when we tend it, we can put this here. So I'm going to tuck that in there. So we've got our plants growing in this weird little field down here and our strawberries up here. So that's our first action with our sprite. Do we want to spend our villagers? I can't do much with them. I'm going to put them here. I'm going to spend 3 of my coins to grab a cow, I think, and we'll tuck that over here for now, out of the way. So we've now got our first livestock. Can't do anything with it. If we get some equipment later down the line, we could potentially do something with it, but equally we can start breeding cows. That is that. We turn this down to 0. Should have done that when I put it in, and that is the end of the perform worker actions. Now we return the character. We'll put you here. We return workers, so you will go here, and this worker, what we're actually going to do is roll it. If we ever get a 0, we roll it again. We only got 1 this time, and we tuck that in here. So you can see that dice have 1 to 3 on it. So that's that. And then we replenish the crop market. So these are going to slide down. And then we reach into the bag and see what we get. We have potatoes, and we have beans. Our first beans are here. Okay. So pretty good from that respect. I'll flip that over so it's showing you the beans. Let's have a little look at, we'll look at some equipment in a bit, because we need quite a lot of money to be able to get any of those equipment, but we'll have a look at some of those in a bit. And if we wanted to, say, get the good planter, we'd need strawberries and 2 potatoes, or the rancher would be 1 of each. So we're maybe getting closer to that. And this shows that if we have 2 cows next to each other, we can breed. We'll go through all of the skills in a bit more detail on that when we get near to them. I'm less worried about getting the skills, although it's an extra thing every turn. I'm less worried about getting them right off the get-go. I think from our point of view, it would be nice to do it, but having these weather effect ones I think would be really good. But we need crops to be able to do that. That's the end of that phase. We're going to take another weather card, which is clouds, and it has an event on. Do we have, so now we want to actually check, do we have sun, rain, clouds? We have clouds, rain, sun, clouds, but not in this order. It has to be in this specific order. We don't have it. So that's that. We're going to take our next event card, which interestingly is 125, the one we've just been hit over the head with. That's the next card that we put in. Let's have a little look. Watcher in the woods. Your group can't shake the feeling of being watched. As they work, occasionally, at the edge of the forest, there appears to be movement, but whenever anyone looks, there's no one there. All they find are giant footprints and some dark fur. Shuffle Adventure 80 into the adventure deck. Okay. Sinister. Didn't realise this was going to be a scary adventure. Okay. Okay, let's do that. So this is an adventure we're shuffling in rather than anything else, so we'll grab all of these out of here. The trays are quite well designed. They have, you just push down on one of the corners to take the items out, so you can just kind of push them down and do that. Let's give these a shuffle. Okay, we'll tuck this back on top, and we'll tuck this in here. So that's that. And from our point of view, we have the We have the weather to check. It's cloudy. Nothing happened on a cloudy day in spring. We need it to be sunny. So that's the end of that. We get to perform our town action. Now I don't have 5 coins to be able to do anything over here. I don't really want to go and get another worker. I do want to start clearing out space. But I think if we use this worker, it's much more efficient to then do some harvesting. So it does mean we're only going to be able to tend once, but we're able to tend and then harvest. So might be quite nice. Okay, let's go. Let's show you the last action that we can do really is go to the longhouse. So again, you can see this has got both sprites on. You can't see that there, but both sprites and villagers are on it. And we have a choice. We can either gain a skill. We don't have the facility to gain a skill. I think these have to be harvested or tended to be able to do it. So we're just going to gather 1 coin in this instance. We have a choice of the 2 things. That's our town action. We're going to perform a character action. I think it makes sense for us to do some tending. So we're going to grab this, flip this over. So our potatoes are ready down here. And then we could do some harvesting. Oh, you know what? I'm not going to do that at all. I'm going to flip this back over. I am going to plant for free. So these strawberries need to be touching these ones, so I can put these here. So our strawberry field is coming along. So that's our action. Then we're going to use the sprite to actually do some tending, and we'll flip this one over. So I want to try and get towards these skills. So that's that done. That's all of our actions done. This needs to go down to 0 and we'll come back up here. I'm just going to shuffle this now, slightly out of sync, but we'll do that there. So that's all of our actions. We get to return the worker, and we get to shuffle these down, and we get to reach into our bag and grab the next one, which is peas. Beans, not peas. I know, vegetables, all right. Okay, so that's that done. We're back to the start of another phase. So you're going to see this gets to move fairly quickly. Let's take the next weather card. It is a sun, but it also has a improve the or a advance a construction. So let me show you what this icon looks like. Whenever we see this, it means things can move up the construction crew. It's sunny. Sunny is good for us because we get to take the free farmer action, which is plant another crop. So we'll tuck this one in here, I think. So our strawberries are all still touching. So that was the free action because of that. Let's just check whether we've got any of these events. So do we have rain, cloud, sun? We do not. We have rain, sun, cloud. Okay, so that's that done. Now this is the building queue. If we had any buildings in here that have moved along one, when they get to the top, we can place them in a space if we have a place for them and if we can pay the resources for them. So that's that. I think we're going to do the last action that we can. We're going to come over here, and we're going to have no workers this time round, but we are going to grab 5 coins, and we're going to pay 5 to clear out one of these spots. Doesn't really matter which one. Let's go and do number 2 here. So we're going to clear this one out, and this means we get 10 coins. Nice. Very nice. We were literally out of money, but by clearing this, we get 10 coins. One thing I just want to talk about is what we can put in its place. These here are all of the building cards that we can place. So as we go through it, we're going to be able to build things. However, you'll see that I've got the trading post and the general store down here. I'm going to show you one of these or both of these just very quickly. So if we wanted to build this for 1 or 2 player, we need to pay 1 income, 2 production, 1 culture, and we put it in track number 1 of the build queue. Once it gets built, we get to grab one of these 2 resources. We get a villager dice into the hiring pool. I think that is. Let's just check that. Is that what that is? I think it is. Villager die in tower. So we'll add an extra die because this villager's turned up. And if we flip this over, you'll see that this lady will start running the trading post. We'll put her card in the friends and family board over here. So for now, we're going to keep this over here. The general store works in the same way. It requires food instead of culture, and 2 income rather than anything else. So if we want to get these built, we're going to have to do some work. But I wanted to kind of show you all of the actions before we start motoring through some of these turns, because now we've done that, that's pretty much everything that we can do until we get more buildings, go on adventures, etc, etc. So I think now we've got some money, I don't need to worry about this too much. I am going to take the tend action, and I am going to tend to these. So I'm going to flip these over and tuck these in here. Now we have 2 strawberries. If we get a ready potato, we'll then be able to take the harvest action whenever it's sunny. So probably not the one we wanted to go for straight away. But yeah, maybe we'll flip this over actually, because planting I feel like is going to be stronger than harvesting right now, or tending. So let's try and get that. We need 2 potatoes, so I'm going to flip this one over just here. Okay, so that's that. We're 4 cards in. We're going to do 1 more turn this episode, and then we're going to wrap up. Normally I'd like to do 1 season a turn, or an episode, but I get the feeling this is going to be a long one because of all of the explanation, but we won't need to do that again next time. Okay, so we've done our skill, we've done that, we get to shift these along 1, and we get to dig into the bag, and we get more potatoes. Okay, so that's all of that done. Let's take our last weather card for the episode. It is clouds, and it has a build action or progress the action over there as well. Do we have a cloud, sun, cloud? We do. Bit unfortunate, this is the progress the construction queue, but just so you can see that because these match this symbol, we would take this action. Obviously we'd prefer it to have been this one, because then we could have done it, but maybe next time, right? Maybe next episode we'll get that, because that would have given us the extra production. But we get to advance the queue. There's nothing in the queue, unfortunately. We get to go take an action. Should we go on another adventure? Oh, we need to also just place 1 of these on here to show that we've achieved our objective or goal, and we are going on an adventure. So let's find out what we get. We are going to zoom in, and we have lounging by the seaside. Lounging by the seaside, you spot a grotto partially submerged in the tide. Exploring it, you see a scattered pile of goods. Looks like someone's pack washed up here. There's also a submerged tunnel nearby. You could swim it, but the tide is rising. Search for the goods and leave with your findings before the tide comes in. Push your luck and swim into the submerged tunnel. You know what, we've already been hit in the head, right? Shall we push our luck? Can't be that unlucky, right? We're going to do B. You can surface in periodic air pockets to breathe, but the tunnel is longer than it looked, and you're forced to turn back. Upon your return, you see the tide has washed the pile of goods away. So if we'd have done the top one, we'd have got 3. We didn't, we did B, we get nothing, but we are now aligned to the villager actions. So we are going to have to do villager actions from this episode, from this bit going forward. I think that's fine. Because we've done our town action, we're now into the perform worker actions. We don't have any workers, maybe we'll hire some next time. We are going to perform our character action, which I think is going to also be we have to do it from one of these. I think we're going to buy another cow. So we're going to spend 3 coins to place another livestock here. And that means if we wanted to, if we take the breed action, we'll be able to get another cow going forward. That is the end of that. We get our character back, and we're done. We get to... Oh, we didn't do any plant action, so we don't move any of these along. They all stay where they are, I think. I'm not sure if one slips off the end. I'll check that between episodes. next episode, I'm hoping that we can delve into equipment and we can delve into skills if we can get some of these ready to be harvested, and we'll go from there. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please hit the like button, subscribe button, all of that stuff. Hopefully this is pretty chill and laid back and sort of nice entertainment for a Monday. But let me know your thoughts. Give me any feedback. Let me know if you want me to change some of the setup and all of those things. As I say, if the light's a bit off, any of that stuff. Thank you so much. If you want to support the channel, subscribing, leaving a comment, leaving a like, all of those things really help. If you want to go an extra step, then the Patreon is the best way to do that. You get lots of free content over there, and just remember there was some free Patreon memberships for the month in the description or in the comments. If they've gone by now, then I apologize, but maybe there'll be some more in the near future. Thank you so much. I'll see you soon.